Good afternoon, KHM agents. Welcome to, why do I always say that? It's all agents, not just KHM agents, but it is KHM Today, your weekly resource for industry news and straight up fun. I am your host, Carolyn Orff, and I'm excited to be here with all of you today on National Spouses Day. So we're going to meet with a wonderful couple who are KHM agents to kind of hear about how they work together as a team to put together successful groups. So we've got that in store for you today. Jacki Marks is here from Apple Leisure Group, and our own Anita Pagliasso is here to kick off the show with our little team talk. So let's welcome Anita to the show. Hi.
Hi, Carolyn. Hi,
It's been a
everybody.
while since we've seen you.
Yeah, I think I need to click. There we go. Yeah.
There
Hi.
you are. Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing really well. I'm so excited for you to be here. It has been another crazy week in the travel business, and but there are some really positive moments, and then we kind of like wham, get hit with another news story, and we feel like we've been kicked back a few steps. So what I want to ask you about today is, you spend a lot of time talking with people when you're either traveling or working with the different travel organizations that you work with. What are they saying about how we can begin to, and it might not even be begin to, continue to instill consumer confidence in our clients?
Yeah, it's really kind of something that everybody has to dedicate their business to right now is working on, number one, their own confidence in the travel industry, their own business, and then to turn that around and actually talk to their clients about it. We've gone through a lot of changes. I call it like a roller coaster that we're on. We climb up and then it's down
Yep.
and then it's up and down. And so what I'm seeing and what really disheartens me is to see sometimes there's a little bit of abuse going on. Not abuse, but people are kind of frustrated. Everybody's frustrated. And so that kind of road rage thing happens. And I think that we need to step back and really talk about our own business, because the roller coaster will go up again. And we're going to get to the top of this. And it's really important that the advisors themselves first realize that this is going to happen. And so it's kind of like staying away from the bad news all the time and really focusing on what's really happening out there and how it pertains to their own clientele. And it's interesting because sometimes, whether we want to or not, we share too much. And it's kind of like maybe we're sharing the wrong information, that we feel like we have to blurt out everything that's going on. They get that on their own. And so it's really important, I believe, is to really understand your database. And I go back to the old story where I fell in love with cruising, but I thought this one client I had, all she ever wanted to do, the family wanted to go to Hawaii every year. And I thought, I just got to push her to branch out. And so when I pushed her to branch out, I put her on a cruise that came back, and I called, I was excited. How did you like it? They hated it. So from that time on, I found out through different understanding the clients, is the cruising industry really important to the people that only want land-based? So maybe we have to take a look at our database and really divide it up to where we're really sending the right appropriate information to the right clientele. And then, it's kind of looking at today, I was looking at, it just came across, ASTA's Daily Travel Advisor News. And it says the positive things is December was air travel was resilient among Omicron. It was the airports were packed with people traveling, whether it was family or holiday or whatever it was, the airports are packed. So that kind of is a confidence builder, the fact that, people are out there, they're adapting to what they need to do. They're understanding what the vaccine requirements are. They're understanding the rules about wearing masks, and that nothing is going to stop them if they really, truly want to travel. The other headline I saw was great cruise comeback in Florida and the Caribbean. They're feeling that optimism. So if you can read those kind of stories where they're really seeing the breakthroughs, you know, they've gone through a lot. The cruise lines have actually adapted so much to really kind of make sure that everybody's safe, and to get that information out, what they've done, what the protocols have changed, how they've changed, and you know, and how that they will be safe when they are traveling on the cruises. The other thing that I thought was really interesting, it said, the headline said, "What pandemic? Did you know that the Hilton brands have added more than one hotel per day in 2021?" So if
Wow.
that isn't optimistic, I mean, somebody out there is betting on that things are going to get
Yes.
better. And I think
Yeah.
that's where we kind of have to look at things are going to get better. And that's where we have to really kind of gear our thoughts and our clients.
I feel like I have those clients that the door is wide open, right? They're wide open. They don't care anymore. They're going where they want to go. And I've got some where the door is completely shut, not doing anything. And then I've got those that I call the peekaboo, right? Open, shut, open, shut, open, shut. And those are my book and cancel, book and cancel, book and cancel.
Right.
And you know, it's a matter of getting those folks that are booking and then canceling to keep that booking, but just understand what's truly happening and how it impacts them. And so we've talked this whole month, we've talked about kind of those pre-qualifying questions before you start asking the who, the what, the where. I ask, and I've got it written down, like the term I use to not ask if they're vaccinated, but to ask, like, do you have your passport? Do you know that vaccination is required in certain destinations? And are you able to quarantine for a week should you get stuck in a destination? If I ask those three questions, then for some people, the conversation continues. For others, it stops right then and there, and I haven't wasted a ton of time. And that's okay.
Right.
But at least it shares with them the three things that are most important and hardest to deal with right now.
Well, what you're doing is you're creating part of a trust. And
Yes.
it's kind of like the whole scenario where you know that you're going to give a quote out. In most cases, they're going to go check the internet. They're going to check all of that, you know, and balance it out. But with the landscape that we're in right now, it's even more important to understand what you're selling and understand ahead of time if you're going to sell that land vacation and the particular tour operator what their policies is, and make sure ahead of time that the client knows that this is the cancellation. So if they're going to cancel and rebook and cancel and rebook, there might be restrictions. And so I think if they know that in advance and that they're clear about it, you know, this is volatile times and it's up and down. And what happens? What if? They need to understand that and agree to that, because otherwise we're all just spinning our wheels like crazy with all of what you're saying, cancel, rebook, cancel, rebook. And so we got to let them know.
Yeah. Now let me ask you this. We're starting to see some countries loosen up again. We're starting to see people travel, the protocols across the globe. What has you most excited in 2022 about travel?
Well, that is because most of the standard is like we were saying, everything's opening up. I got to go. I was just talking a little while ago before we came live about the fact that I got to go with my daughter to Italy, and it was amazing. And yeah, the crowds weren't as bad. And it was still, there were a lot of people, which gave me hope that people are traveling. And yet, you know, I see it. People want to go and they want to experience something. We all have that little bit of gypsy blood in us that, you know, and that's what we have to look forward to. With more of the countries opening up, of course, with restrictions and all the other things that can happen. But as long as the client knows that, this is the exciting news that we should be sharing. Is you can now travel to wherever it is that you want to specialize in, and understand that and really know what the requirements are and pass them along.
Yeah. Oh, well, Anita, thank you so much for being here and taking the time. And I think you're going to be at Cruise 360 in just a few weeks, right?
Yes, yes. And then back in August, back here in San Francisco at the ASTA Global Conference, which is going to be exciting. And so I hope to see many of you at these upcoming events. And you, I have to say, thanks for bringing the fun back to the travel industry. We all got into it because it's fun. It is a lot of work, but bottom line, you're selling travel and you just bring a smile to everybody. So thank you, Carolyn.
Well, thank you. It is an absolute joy to be able to do this each week, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity and for everyone that tunes in. So thank you so much. We'll see you soon.
Yeah. Bye.
All right. We have some exciting news for KHM today, and here to help share the news with you guys is our producer of the show, Robbie Mitchum from the video team here at KHM. Robbie, you want to join us?
Hey there, Carolyn.
So you're usually in the background, but today you're going to share with us what's in store for 2022 with our show.
Of course. So this actually began quite a while ago. I think it's almost been a year since we've been kind of theorizing on building upon KHM today, which I think it is important to point out that without, and I think Anita kind of said it well too, but without you, there wouldn't be any KHM today. So I want to thank, you, Carolyn, or for taking the initiative on this show. It has been one of the most consistent and most appreciated sort of like check-ins we get to have with our agents every week. So in light of that, we have been working for some time on trying to polish up the show to see how we can reach a broader audience and see at what ways we can evolve and elevate this so that it allows us to engage more with our agents and also with agents beyond the KHM kind of circle, and also to engage, sort of with ourselves and how we kind of approach education and information and having fun and stuff like that. This show kind of encapsulates all three of those things, which are important to everybody at KHM.
So we are moving to a new platform that will stream live through YouTube, correct?
Yep, correct. So for those of you who do not watch live through GoToWebinar, you will still be able to see the videos after they've broadcasted, but they now will broadcast directly to YouTube. Well, starting in a couple weeks, we will be closing in on a specific here shortly. But we just have some final things that we need to kind of iron out. But yes, we are switching to a new platform to allow us a little bit more control over the flow of the show, to increase kind of our workflow behind the scenes. As Carolyn mentioned, normally I am working just kind of like doing producing and talking ideas and stuff. And we have several other team members such as Ashley Newton, who I'm sure many of you are familiar with, Madison, Sam, and many other people from the marketing team who help kind of make everything run smoothly. So this is just an opportunity for us to do that in a new and exciting way. And there's going to be some fun changes with the way the show looks, with how guests get to interact with the show, because the YouTube, similarly to GoToWebinar, does have a live chat feature, but it is a little more, I guess, integrated into how it is. And also, we'll be able to kind of start integrating things more into, like KHM Today, that we've been meaning to try, that it might have been difficult to pull off before.
Yeah, so a lot of times our industry partners come on and they want to show a quick video or something like that, and that doesn't translate well through this platform, but it will through the platform we're switching to, that will be live to YouTube. So we want to encourage everyone today. Each month or each quarter, you're kind of registered automatically to receive reminders for the show. But now what we need you to do is go to YouTube and subscribe to the KHM Today channel, so you get alerts about the show. And there's great content on there that's not just about KHM Today. So that's like the first step, but we will make an announcement on the show when we're going to make that full transition, so you're not wondering where we are one week. But we're really excited about it, and we think it's going to be a different look, a professional look. and it's going to streamline things a little bit. And you know, as with any technology, there are some challenges, and that's what we're working to you know, sort out before we get started. But we're really excited for it, and Robbie's kind of behind the scenes, and he understands all the technical pieces, because really I'm just good for clicking buttons. That's about it.
I think it's because of all the travel knowledge she has. You've succumbed to what many people refer to as the Abingus curve. You've got no more room. It's just all
I don't
packed
have any
full of
more
good
room.
info. Yeah.
So, well, thank you so much for joining us today and for being here and sharing that great news. And we'll keep you guys updated as we start to make that transition. But we're really excited for it, and we think, you know, we can grow our audience, which just benefits all of us in this industry. So, thanks so much.
And actually, before I hop off, I do want to mention too that, you know, similarly to how we're trying to get these ideas kind of through, we also want more ideas from the viewers. So if you're watching this and you have any ideas for content or questions that you might have, please leave them in an email and a comment below on the YouTube video that'll come to follow, or, you know, get in touch with us in some other way. You can also engage with us on the KHM Agents Only group. I believe you're in that, right, Carolyn? Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
So
Alrighty.
yes, some of our best segments come from our viewers. So thank you so much, Robbie.
All right. See you later.
All right, you guys. Our next guest hasn't been here in a while. I think the last time was National Beer Day. So please welcome Jacki Marks, Executive Vice President for Apple Leisure Group. Hi, Jacki. You were there. And
there we go. I'm back again. Hello.
So great to see you.
You as well.
So I want to talk about real quick about some of the things Anita and I spoke about in our team talk segment about consumer confidence. How is ALG working on this, you know, for lack of a better word, problem that you know, we've got some consumers that just can't seem to push back past some of the news cycle?
Yeah, you know, well, let me start out with good news about consumer confidence, because to me, consumer confidence is most relevant when we see our sales trends. Where is their level of, you know, confidence in traveling? I think, as you and Anita were talking about, the year didn't start out how we had really hoped or planned for, but it quickly turned. And so our sales are back to reaching those 2019 levels. Cancellations have leveled off. And I think, you know, when you guys were talking about land-based vacations, the interesting thing right now that we're seeing in the land-based vacation world is that, you know, when the cancellations spiked, it really was less about their fear of traveling and more that people were just testing positive before they went on their vacation, unfortunately. We know Omicron was highly contagious, but, you know, if you do have consumers that are not as confident, what we've been leading with and is really about the peace of mind and facts to the best of our ability. So the first thing is, what I can tell you is only 0.5% of customers have been testing positive in destination. We track every single customer in destination. So this idea that hundreds of people and thousands of people are in destination and they're getting stuck, it's just not true. 0.5% is such a small amount when you look at the thousands and hundreds of thousands of customers we send. So making sure that they realize it's really not as scary as what maybe it feels. The second thing is really, they just got to have peace of mind. And you guys were also talking about policies and making sure that they feel like if they just don't feel good about going, can they get out of the vacation? And so the two things we have is, if they don't buy insurance, we have very flexible cancellation and change policies. We have no change fees or no cancel policies on land only. If you do have scheduled air, there are some more restrictions, but as we all know, the tickets are reusable. So even if you do cancel, many of those airlines now made them reusable. But the ultimate way to get your customer to feel confident is to buy them travel protection. And ultimately, then they can say, okay, I'm locked in, but for only on average about $75 a person, you can cancel for any reason. You don't have to worry. It's a travel credit insurance. So to me, it's using facts and using the policies and the products we have available to your advantage to overcome their fears. But I will tell you, people are traveling. You guys talked about the airports being busy. We are busy. We are getting back to 2019 levels, and the consumer is more resilient. So if you're resilient, trust me, they too will be resilient.
I think to add to what you're saying when it comes to peace of mind, this is a huge opportunity for us as agents. when you feel confident, and I'm not saying convince a client to go, but if you feel confident in your ability to help a client while they're in destination. For example, I had a client who thought they were going to test positive over Christmas to come back, and we're WhatsApping, and I was there the entire time and just kind of texting through what would happen. And I finally said, we're done talking about this. Let's cross that bridge when we get there. Your test is tomorrow. And I knew what time the test was. I text the client and they said, yep, we're on our way to the test. I said, okay, tell me the results. That process of being there for them gained me 4 new clients because they said, and they had never used an agent before, but because they witnessed me helping my client kind of talk them off the ledge and walk her through what we would do if that was the case, they called me right after they got back and said, okay, can you help us with May? So it's a huge opportunity. We just have to be confident in what we're doing. And so I think Apple Leisure Group has some tools available to help agents walk through the what ifs.
Absolutely. And that's what I was just going to say. You could not have said it more perfectly, is that we want to give you those resources so that when you're speaking to your client, you know exactly what happens before, during, and after their travel. So our page that we have is called algvacations.com/COVID update. And on that page is everything you need to know by destination, state rules, government rules, CDC, State Department. It tells you which hotels are going to cover quarantine if they're in destination, which ones aren't, what are the testing that they're going to get, are they going to have to pay for it? Every hotel is in there, every destination, everything, every airline information that we have. So we try to house it all in one spot. So whatever you're looking for, you can find it, because God knows none of us can know this off the top of our heads. Like, we would have to have a PhD times 10 to keep it up with it all. So yeah, this page is invaluable. I check it almost every day because I'll get a question that I'm like, I think I know the answer, but let me go check.
Right.
And it is changing. It's on a daily basis, it's changing. So it's hard to stay up. But yes, knowledge is power. The relationship and confidence you're going to build with your client, and us making it as easy as possible for you in that home, portal that we have.
One thing I did before Christmas, because I had quite a few people traveling, was I sat down and I made myself a list of who was traveling, with which brands, which phone numbers I needed to call, and what the process was, so that I wasn't digging around for that in a panicked mode. That I had, it's like when people say, I can't believe it's Christmas already. Well, how come? It's the 25th every year. Your clients are traveling. Preempt yourself for that stress by going through and saying, okay, I've got someone with FunJet, and this is the number that I need to call if there's a problem, and this is the protocol that's in place, and this is what I can share with the client. So making sure that you set yourself up for success and not stress, I feel like is one of those tools that we have to start implementing. Otherwise, we're going to be pulling our hair out.
I completely agree. Yeah.
So, and one thing I will tell you, I read the long document the other day. I didn't realize that if I have to cancel a client and the during travel number there's a wait for that I can still, and it's a last minute cancel, that I can still go into the booking and cancel it. I didn't realize that. I thought I had to speak to someone if it was a last minute cancel. Am I correct?
Well, it kind of depends by airline on your ability to cancel that ticket. So you're right. The most important thing to do is cancel that ticket. And that means if they're not going to travel and they got COVID, whatever, they can't take the trip, or even if they're coming home and they got COVID in destination, you need to cancel that before the flight departs, because otherwise that ticket becomes non-refundable. So I wish I could say that every time you could go in and make that cancel yourself. It really depends on the ticket rules. Some cases you may need to call into during travel, and some cases you can cancel it yourself. Always try to take care of it yourself first and get that ticket canceled, and then worry about what's next after that, because at least you have that credit now built and you can work on that. But that is, like, with people testing positive in destination, even though it's very small, as I said, 0.5%, you need to get that ticket canceled. And then you need to worry about your customer's quarantine and what's going to happen in destination before you worry about rebooking them. Because we have seen some people trying to rebook that flight in anticipation of when the customer wants to come home. And that would be great if we could all just pick when we want to come home if we test positive. But the reality is you absolutely need a negative COVID test or a letter of recovery from a doctor in destination to return home. Now, typically we've been seeing that can happen within 5 days, one or the other. Hotels have been phenomenal about having doctors on site that if they're really not showing any symptoms after the 5 days, they are writing letters of recovery, even if they hadn't gotten the negative test. But until you know you have one of those documents, you should not be rescheduling that flight, because the reality is you don't know when they're going to be able to board the plane again.
So Jackie, just to go back to something you said about, you need to cancel the flight before it departs, and you have to cancel it. How do we know which type of ticket it is to know whether or not we can cancel straight in Vax, or if we have to make the phone call, or do we just do both to be safe?
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not even like you could look at your ticket on Vax and say, well, this one I can cancel, this one I can't. It's whether Vax is going to really let you complete that cancel. And I don't exactly understand why sometimes it's not letting you complete it, and has something to do with the way the PNR is connected to that. So we've had examples, for just to give you one that I was involved in, is somebody wanted to cancel the outbound but not the return because they were going to still go, and it was more of a misconnect. And it was like, well, wait a second, if they cancel that, it was going to cancel off the return. So it got a little complicated, and it was like, no, you need to call during travel on this one. This one's not within your realm of what you're trying to do. So it's really just seeing, will Vax let you do what you're trying to do? And if it does, do it. I mean, that's the most simplest way I can say, is that if Vax is allowing you, then it's fine. Make sure you know what's happening. And if it doesn't, call during travel. I mean, I'll be honest, I do think calling during travel is always better when you're dealing with these situations. And our wait time right now, I mean, during the peak of Omicron, yeah, we were hitting some kind of crazy wait times again. We do have a callback feature in during travel, so you don't have to wait on hold. But right now our call times are under 10 minutes in during travel. So that's why they're there. They're to help you with those weird situations. So I'd hate to have somebody accidentally cancel something incorrectly. So please, in this case, I usually say, don't call the call center, do it on your own. But with these kind of situations, I always say, hey, it's better to be safe than sorry when you're dealing with something that's at that emergency level.
Yeah. Well, wonderful. Thank you for that. So I want to switch gears a little bit to an article that I read just yesterday about the merger between Hyatt and ALG, which has to be exciting, but also a little frightening. But one of the things that I thought was just astounding was the growth. The list of hotel openings and where they were going to be was incredible. Do you have a destination that has kind of made the list or not made the list yet that you're personally looking forward to?
Yeah, it is. I mean, right now, I heard a great conversation you and Anita had. I really enjoyed listening to that. But you guys were talking about everybody double downing on, she was talking about Hilton, double down on leisure. I mean, the amount of leisure product that is being built and the amount of leisure product that is available just really shows you we're all on the right side of the business. I mean, the amount of hotels that were only business hotels that are saying the future is in leisure, it's incredible to see. So, boy, if I had to pick one hotel that I'm excited, I'm just, I haven't really seen any of our Europe hotels yet. So our head of the Europe division is a wonderful, person who keeps saying, you got to come see the hotels in Europe. So I think if I get a chance, my goal is going to be to try to make my way through many of the Europe hotels and kind of see them, because we've been such a company that's been focused on the Americas, as we call it, the Mexico, the Caribbean, and now to have an expansive number of products that we have in Europe. We're just as big in Europe with AMR hotels as we are in Caribbean and Mexico. So there are a lot that I want to get over there and start seeing and experiencing, because to have those kind of products in Europe, they've never really existed before. They're always your traditional hotels in Europe. Our customers now have the true AMR experience in Europe. So I can't pick one, but I do plan to make my way through them at some point, and maybe I'll just backpack my way through them. I don't know.
Yes. Well, I have to tell you, I was very excited when I saw Cozumel on the list. This is a destination that I do find challenging to sell because of the hotel choices there. And I was so excited to see that it looks like there'll be a Dreams.
Yep. Yeah, and that you're right. And Cozumel is one of those kind of not appreciated destinations, you know, in the sense of what it can offer, because so many people are going to Cancun versus Cozumel. And what's great about Cozumel is you can do a split stay. That's what I did the last time I went, is I spent part of my time in Cozumel. I took the ferry over. It's so simple. Took the ferry over and then did my other part of my stay in Cancun and flew home from there.
Well, your first hotel in Europe, whereby it's not an AM property, but it is sold by ALG Brands, is the Riu Madrid. I actually got to go see it last week. We went to the rooftop bar. It's 26 floors up. It used to be a condemned building in the center of Madrid, and they have remodeled this. It is gorgeous. I didn't get to stay there, but that place had a line out the door to get to the rooftop bar with the glass walkway. A little scary, but really, really fun. So if you make your way to Madrid, that is definitely a place that you should stop and see, because it's pretty fantastic.
That sounds fabulous. And I love the Riu, so I'm all in. I actually stayed at the Riu in New York, and that's fun to see Riu in New York.
It's weird. People keep recommending it, and I'm like, what? They're not. They said New York, not Mexico.
I know. It is fun to see our favorite brands make their way to different parts of the world.
Yes. Well, Jacki, we thank you for your time and your knowledge today, and we always appreciate you being here, and of course your partnership.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. And again, thank you to all of the people listening, not listening, watching this back on demand. We couldn't do this without your support, and the turnaround that we're seeing really hopefully gives you the same confidence we have. And so anything we can do to help you keep growing the business, don't be afraid to ask.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, you guys, as we mentioned at the top of the hour, it is National Spouses Day. How many of you guys could work with your spouse or significant other? Well, we have two amazing people that work together. We call them the Quimbys, Kieth and Kim. Welcome to KHM Today.
Okay, we are in the.
I hear you. Where are you?
It's trying. There we are. Can you see us?
I can't see you yet. There we are. How are you?
We're great. How are you?
That's that internet in Greenville, Texas. Well, we're so excited for you to be here for National Spouses Day. I think it's amazing that you work together so closely and you have some amazingly successful groups. So let me ask you this. How do you play to your strengths? Do you have things that one person does over the other? Or do you find yourselves like both doing everything?
No. He's a technical guru. And I am like, what do you call the person? An out there person.
Yeah, she's a type A personality. She's doing the marketing, finding the groups, identifying new opportunities. I tend to be the guy that brings them in, supports the group, grows them, and that type of the details on the backside.
So I love that you use the word finding the group, because I personally have a challenge with this. So what are some of the things that you do that allows you to find these groups?
That's a good question. You want me to take that?
Yeah, you take it first.
I'll take it first. And we manufactured some groups too. So like our golf group, we manufactured. We go and do tournaments with couples, and then so we decided we wanted to take the couples that we play tournaments with on a couples tournament, and so we made it up and did it, and that's one of our most successful. That Rotary, that's obvious that I've got a group I'm already in, so let's take that group and go do a service project somewhere and go on a travel with them. So that's finding groups, and then you say.
Well, the second part of that is groups tend to make groups. We this year we have a dealership that we're supporting with their incentive prizes over Christmas, and the person that led us to this is part of our golf groups. So she had great knowledge that we supported groups and grew the groups. Another one is her Rotary. We have a corporate group now that one of her Rotarians, who is a tremendous sponsor of ours and goes on our other groups, she immediately turned to us. The same thing. They had an incentive group. So our groups tend to grow each other as people start to recognize the value that we bring to supporting and bringing groups to the business. So,
Do you ever disagree about things and how the group should be run? Or do you pretty much?
He doesn't.
No, we do. We have disagreements. Working together. And I recently saw this over this past week. You can disagree to the point that you become enemies or encamped into each other's separate things, and that's pretty tough. Kim does a great job of disagreeing, but always pulling me back from becoming entrenched. So we wind up having those discussions and coming out with better alternatives than if either one of us won the argument, the discussion, or lots of times it's not an argument. Sometimes it's just trying to figure out, the best path forward. Obviously, groups are challenging right now in the fact that you get the final payment, and now you're working to get that group's final payments made, get them over the hurdle, the latest news release or whatever. So, working through those things together, letting one get frustrated, the other try to calm the frustration. That's where we work well together as far as a team.
So you actually led perfectly into my next question of how do you instill that consumer confidence, right? Big groups can lead to big cancellations, which you don't want. So what are some of the things that you've either said or done that have maybe put people at ease over traveling?
Putting them at ease is kind of an ongoing thing. It's not a one-time discussion. I think the primary thing is to talk about our travels, the fact that we just got back from somewhere and/or we're about to leave to go somewhere. That makes it a little difficult for them to get too anxious or even to share their anxiety. I think it keeps them from reaching that point of being anxious once they understand that we're out there traveling. So that's one element of that.
And then we travel with a bunch of our groups too.
Right.
So that must make people feel pretty good about, problems or situations or, paperwork.
The tournament that we did last year, we did lose how much? A majority, over half of them. And that was in that January final payment time.
Right.
Half of them canceled, but the rest of us went. Nobody had any problems at all.
Yep.
I posted it all over Facebook, and we have a page for that tournament, and so everybody knew.
Right.
Yeah.
I even did a virtual tournament, so the ones that canceled could play virtually, and possibly win entry into this year's tournament.
Yeah.
So,
That's
and we've
awesome.
got a lot this year that are coming back to go.
Right.
So.
And so each time you do a group, do you have favorite hotels or do you ever look to new hotels, or because you're really, a lot of your groups are golf centered, you're looking at, a handful of hotels each year?
Yeah. The key for us on the keeping it reasonable from a cost perspective as well as manageable on site is for the resort to have either a very strong relationship with the golf course or on the golf course. Our most successful tournaments have been where the resort owns the golf course.
Mm-hmm.
They're much more flexible. They keep the fees kind of in line with what we're attempting to do. If you're having to put two contracts in place, one for the golf course, one for the resort, that becomes challenging because both of them have their desire and their profit margins. So, so we really try to focus on the resorts where we also don't have long transportation times. Those become difficult when you're loading people up at 7 a.m. to make an hour commute to a golf course.
We've not done that.
And we don't want to ever do that.
Except in New Zealand we did.
Yeah, in New Zealand we took a cruise ship to each new golf course. So.
Well, now that sounds like fun. How many did you have on that group?
We had over 20, I believe it was 26 people. And not everybody played golf, but we played some of the world-renowned golf courses on that particular cruise. it was really special. So
Absolutely. So is
yeah.
there anything that you do right now to prepare yourselves for the unpredictable? Do you, as I mentioned to Jackie before Christmas, I kind of was going through all my bookings and making sure I had the during travel numbers in my phone. I had all the booking numbers in my phone, and I kind of knew, generally what I needed to do in the event of, really at the end of the day, a positive test or a last minute canceled flight. Do you
Yeah,
set yourself up that way as well?
Yeah, let me put a plug in here. We joined from Anita's Ticket to Travel and joined KHM. And, week by week, month by month, I've become much more familiar with tests. And I keep it all there. I've gotten to the point to where, I house everything there about the clients, of course, about the trips. I'll put documents in there too, that I can easily refer to. So I don't have to think about it. I know where that information is, contracts. And of course, the contracts will have contact information. By this time of a group, we are on first name basis with our group coordinator on site. So they're on speed dial, obviously WhatsApp.
WhatsApp's huge.
Yeah, what I think generally on groups of any size, that's knowing where that information is certainly critical, but it's obviously, it should be right there on the tip of your tongue because you've been working with them off and on now for several weeks, right?
Awesome. In 2022, what are you most looking forward to?
We had a trip planned to Portugal. We had a lot of interest. We had over 18 golf couples, and some were going to New Zealand, some were going to play golf, and some were going to tour.
Now it's going to be fall of 20.
Fall of 20. So in 2022, if I look forward, I'm still thinking resurrecting that trip in the fall to get back to Europe, to go back to Portugal and play their courses and to do some touring is kind of on my, still kind of right there. I want to do it. So we'll try to find a way.
That's awesome. Kim, same?
I've not thought about Portugal, so I'm not. Now you get me excited about it. we just love going and playing together. So I'm looking forward to our couples tournaments where we meet everybody, and so that starts up normally in March.
Right.
And we'll play all through the summer. Almost every weekend we're not traveling, we'll be in a different city playing golf together and meeting people, and so it's great fun, and I look forward to the golf season.
Right.
Oh, I love it. Well, you guys, you're an inspiration. I will tell you, it's a joy to see you and to hear what you're working on and to see the success. That what I think is what brings me most joy is that, travel's not dead. We're still here and we're still excited about it. And people still want to travel. So well done.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for being here today. Perhaps I can get an invite on one of those golf trips, although I'm terrible.
You play?
I'm terrible, but I do enjoy it. That's the thing. I'm terrible.
Does your husband play?
No. I've been trying to get him to play for years. His hobby is bartending.
Okay.
Oh, that's cool.
Well, that's good.
Yeah,
We could use one. Now, we often have stray males that would like to have a playing partner.
We do.
So if your husband and you would like to join, we can find a stray male that some of them are really good golfers.
That sounds like fun, and he will offer up his bartending services because he's quite good.
All right.
That's cool.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. See ya.
Oh my gosh. What a joy. What a joy. Everyone, thank you so much for being here today. What a fantastic show. Thank you to all of our incredibly generous sponsors. Next week, we begin Black History Month, and we have the most amazing guests lined up. So please make sure you're tuning in next week. Same time, same bat channel. We haven't switched just yet. So you guys have a great rest of your week. Take care.